Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Aaron Rian with the Brokerage House, and I help thousands of agents make millions of dollars in the real estate industry. And today, we're going to talk about how new home builders are struggling to sell homes in 2022. In this video, you're going to learn exactly what to look for in new home sales, what the new home market is doing, and if you're an agent, what advantages you can gain for your buyers when going to new subdivisions. So let's first talk about what builders are reporting as of July of 2022. So sales of new built homes fell more than 8% in June from the prior month and were 17% lower than they were in June of 2021. That was as of earlier this month. So the interesting thing about that is we're seeing a 17% year-over-year drop from new home sales in June of 21 to June of 22. Remember, new home sales were where a lot of buyers went when they couldn't get a resale home because they were getting beat out by the offers that were coming in with multiple offers, or the homes that were getting $100,000 over list price or $50,000 over list price, and those buyers were just getting beat out. A lot of them would go to new home subdivisions, make a reservation, wait 6 months, and then get their home. So it's interesting to see that we've seen a 17% fall from June of 21 to June of 22. Inventory also rose in new construction. So talking just new construction homes across the US, it rose to a 9.3 month supply, up from 5.6 months at the end of last year. So remember, 6 months is an even market, right? Where it's not a buyer's market, it's not a seller's market. When we're at 5.6 months worth of inventory, it was a builder's market. They could command, a premium for their properties. It wasn't weighed really heavily into a builder's market or a buyer's market, but it was almost even. Now it is by far turning into a buyer's market when it comes to buying a new home. So that's what that means. The more inventory, the more of a buyer's market it is. Chief executives of major builders are saying they have to respond more quickly to the sudden turnaround in the market, in part by boosting incentives. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about, are what are some of the different incentives as an agent you could get for your clients when you're going into a new home construction site. Back in 2008, 2009, 2010, I represented a lot of buyers, and I would walk onto new home subdivisions and demand a lot of things from my clients, whether that was discounts or free items or premium lots, and we'll talk more about that and what that means for you and your clients when you go to a new construction lot. When they talk about needing to respond a lot more quickly to the sudden turnaround in the market, that's because the market changed really quick. In July of 2022, we saw a huge shift in the market. It went from being red hot over the last couple years to now stalling. And so what do, right? If you're a new home builder, you have to make adjustments. You can't sit there and still try to, command a premium from a buyer when you don't have a premium market. So they're talking about they're trying to make adjustments to make deals with buyers. Remember, the things that caused the stall in new construction were rising inventory across the entire market, and then also rising interest rates. So we'll talk about what are some of those incentives that buyers can give you to help you as an agent help your buyer get into a home. We have to work harder to sell homes, and we have to be more nimble. Pulte, who's a big builder, CEO Ryan Marshall, said on a conference call with investors, home price appreciation has slowed, stopped, or through the use of incentives is taking a couple of steps back. Through much of the second quarter, incentives were mostly tied to the mortgage, but this is now expanding to include discounts on options and lot premiums. So what they mean by that is when you go onto a new subdivision or a new home subdivision, one of the incentives that builders can give are seller or builder helping pay the buyer's closing costs or buying the rate down. So for instance, mortgage rates just went up again, right? They've gone up 3/4 of a point just recently. We're getting to the cusp of almost 7%. Remember, before the rate increases started, rates were at 3.5%, almost 4%. So we've seen them almost double in a very short period of time. So what a lot of builders are doing right now is they're giving a contribution towards closing cost credits at closing for the buyer, and the buyer can use that to buy the rate back down. So meaning that if today's mortgage rates are 7%, a builder might help a buyer buy that rate down to where they could get the rate down to maybe 6%, maybe 5.5%, however much they're willing to contribute, so that the payment becomes way more affordable for that buyer, and that buyer then can afford more house. So that's one thing to think about when you are a buyer walking onto a new home subdivision, or if you're an agent representing a buyer, is that is one of the tools that you can get done to help your client get into a great house with a more reasonable payment. The other incentives that builders are putting out there is, remember, when the market was red hot and they could command a premium for everything, new home builders were charging a premium for the best lots in their subdivision. Right now, in this market, you go to a new home subdivision, you can generally get them to give you a new premium lot for the price of just a regular lot in the subdivision. So meaning a lot of times a corner lot is considered a premium lot, or a lot that backs to green space, or maybe a lot that has a lake view, something like that. You're able to get those lots at the price of a regular lot thrown in for free. So that's one of the things that you might want to look at if you're representing a buyer, or if you are a buyer going into a new home subdivision, is you look at a regular lot. You may be able to negotiate with the builder and say, hey, I want to upgrade to a premium lot, but I don't want to pay for it. The other things that builders can do to give you incentives if you're a buyer or if you're representing a buyer are little add-ins, so upgrades to the house. So maybe putting in that really nice quartz countertop, or putting in hardwood floors throughout the entire house at the builder's cost, putting in an AC unit if it doesn't come standard, putting in a full fenced yard if that isn't included, being able to throw in the refrigerator, the washer, the dryer. So builders are willing to make deals right now. If you're an agent out there, you got to take advantage of that. Remember, builders had a great time with us for the last 2-3 years, kind of pushing us around and making us do whatever they wanted. Now it's our turn to be able to negotiate with those builders if they want our buyer's deal. So make sure that you ask for those things: washer, dryers, refrigerators, fences, AC units, blinds. That's another one. Window coverings. If you can get those things thrown in for your client, lot premiums, get them to contribute money towards closing costs so that your client can use that to buy the rates down. But make sure you check with your lender to make sure that that's a approved method for a closing cost contribution with your particular lender. Just a word of advice for you so that you don't get into a position where your client thinks their rate is going to get bought down, but the lender for some reason has an overlay or a reason that they can't allow that to happen. So, over the next quarter, there will be some price discovery as we match up mortgage payments with pricing. So lenders are already preparing and knowing that with the rate increases and the rising costs of payments, basically, buyers can afford a lot less house. So what they're doing is they're trying to line their incentives up with what the buyers need to make deals happen. So, one thing to keep in mind is that the mortgage market is definitely dictating a lot of what builders are doing and how they're having to respond. So one of the things that you might want to think about when you go into a new home subdivision is, what are those lender incentives that they already have on the table? Because a lot of those builders are already thinking about ways that they can put deals together. So you want to make sure that you're finding out what they're already doing and then asking for additional items so that you kind of know what they're already willing to do, and then you can get little add-ons down the line. So if you're a buyer or if you're an agent representing a buyer, those are some things to keep in mind. Find out what they're willing to do up front and then start asking and negotiating on those other items. So hopefully you found this video to be of great help to you. If you like our videos and you like our content, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button down below. If you like the content in this video, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions, you have any comments, you need anything regarding new homes, new home subdivisions, or buying a house, definitely leave the comments down below. We're happy to answer any questions. We're happy to respond. We respond to everything. And I want to thank you for watching our video, and I hope you have a great day.